Rufus Ferguson, who's the education manager for the Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra, here with me today. Virtually, this is kind of weird, right? For both of us.
Yeah, it's different. It's different.
It is different. So what does the education manager do for the Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra?
So essentially, I manage all of our in-school programs. So obviously, KSO is a symphony orchestra, and we take our symphony musicians and we take them into area schools. And we kind of have a different approach of music education, aside from kind of the teachers that are stationed in each individual respective schools. We pair our musicians with different schools, and we kind of introduce the symphony and symphony music and orchestral music to elementary schools to students.
And, as I said, you played in Sounds of the Seasons, which is like it's a tradition. It's a yearly event.
Yeah.
And you played a song called "Oh Come All Ye Faithful." And you composed it, you kind of arranged it. Tell me a little bit about what went into that, and why did you choose that particular song?
I didn't really have a specific reason why I chose it. I was like, I'm looking through a list of Christmas carols, and I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. Let's do that. So, it was kind of just a random, draw out of a hat type of situation. But I love Christmas. And so it was not like it was a song that was unheard of or nothing that wasn't familiar with me. But as a pianist, it's a fun song to play because it has what we consider jazz harmony, right? And so I was like, this will be perfect because I can bring my jazz side and then I can make it nice and orchestral for the classical people. This will be a great meshing together.
So Rufus, when you reimagine "Oh Come All Ye Faithful," tell me a little bit about what goes into that.
And so one of the first things I think when I think "Oh Come All Ye Faithful," and clearly it's a traditional Christmas hymn, but the word hymn obviously comes out of the church. And so I try to think, okay, how can I make this feel like a church experience while using jazz harmony while being played by a classical symphony orchestra? And so I try to bring all these different influences together, whether it's for everyone, I want somebody to feel something, whether it's just a great holiday experience, whether it's a spiritual experience, whether it's a great harmonic things happening musically and just makes you want to think and go home and write. I want to try to create something that everyone can relate to. And
how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you kind of, where do you begin to reimagine it?
That's the jazz side of me. It's hard to explain. I have things in my head that I hear. And even now, my wife will tell you, it takes me like an hour to go to sleep every night because I'm coming up with something new in my head that chances are I'll probably never use. But my mind is always thinking musically. And so I'm saying, okay, I see this song. And then, I get to, I'm like, okay, we'll play it out straight. That'll be nice. Oh, let's do something different. Let's change keys here. But how should I do it? It's in a cool way. So, I kind of think in a way where it's like, okay, what would people like to hear? What would be kind of cool? And I try to reimagine it on the page.
And so at your house around Christmas time, what does that look like and feel like and sound like?
I love Christmas. And so, starting around Thanksgiving, probably before, there will be Christmas carols all day, every day, and nobody will turn them off except for me.
Hey, Rufus, thank you so much for talking with me here today. It's been fun.
Thank you so much, Kim.
So I've got Julian Querty, who's the music director at the Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra. They just put on a huge show, Sounds of the Season, but it looked a little different this year. It's kind of a tradition in Kalamazoo. So tell me exactly what it took to put that together.
Well, as you say, this is one of our most popular programs, and we offer it every holiday season, and it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It brings together the whole community. People love this concert. And when it got close enough to the date that we realized that we weren't going to be able to do it in person as a live concert, we had to quickly pivot and think on our feet, and we created a virtual holiday concert from our homes to yours, whereby all of our musicians recorded their individual parts at home, individually, by themselves, without any orchestra. And they sent me all these videos, and with an editing team, we put everything together so that it sounded like music. And it's a wonderful experience to see it on your screen.
A song that you performed was a Hanukkah blessing, right? How did you choose that? And tell me a little bit about that song. Was that an original composition?
That was an original piece that I
Beautiful.
wrote myself. Um, Looking at this program, I was trying to find music that really spoke to me about Hanukkah, and I listened to a whole bunch of pieces, and for one reason or another, it was either too big or too long, or I just didn't like it. I couldn't find the specific right thing that I was looking for, so I felt inspired to write my own. And the piece begins with a blessing that you sing on the first night of Hanukkah, on every night of Hanukkah, actually. And I gave the melody of this blessing to a solo clarinet floating above a bed of strings. And then there's a very famous hymn that you sing traditionally on the night of Hanukkah, which is called in English, "The Rock of Ages." And I did some research into this, and apparently there are two versions of the melody, and one of them was set down in 1724 by an Italian composer, Benedetto Marcello. And so I took his version and I played that first, and then following that is the actual traditional version that we still sing today.
So, Julian, in Sounds of the Season, you kind of intermixed a lot of different religions and philosophies into the show. And I'm kind of curious, how did that all come to be, and how did you pick and choose?
Well, when you deliver a concert like this, especially online, I really wanted it to be able to speak to everybody. And I wanted everybody to feel that they could be part of this. And this is a time of year that it doesn't matter what religion you practice. People do feel that we come together at this time of year and we celebrate together. And so I wanted to make sure that we could fulfill that for all of our listeners, for everybody out there. And I chose personally to write a piece about Hanukkah. We featured many typical Christmas carols. And part of our segment on the Orchestra Roa, we were talking a little bit with some Syrian refugee families, and they were telling us about their holiday experiences. We like to just blend everything together and to create a narrative that everybody can get behind.
Yeah, and Sleigh Ride. I couldn't wait to hear the horse, the horse sound effect and the clapping of the feet. What is that? What instrument was that?
Well, I was actually the guest soloist on the horse. I took my violin out of the case. I like to tell people I'm a non-practicing violinist. I have a violin, but I haven't really had much of a chance to practice it recently. But I took it out of the case and I went with my family here in Montreal up to a snowy patch of woods. And I got it out and we filmed me just playing the horse call. And people were walking by, walking their dogs. They thought I was crazy, dressed up in this kind of fur hat. But you'll see that at the end of the video. It's a great piece by Leroy Anderson. It's a piece about riding in a sleigh, and you hear the horse footsteps, you hear the crack of the whip, and at the end you hear the neighing horse.
Yeah, I loved it. Well, I can't wait to get back to see the Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra. I went there quite often when I when you when you were playing live, and really enjoyed it. Julian Corti, thank you so much for talking with me here today. I really appreciate your
Thank
time.
you so much, Kim. It was my pleasure, and I want to wish all of your viewers a happy and safe holiday, and we hope to see you in 2021 in the live audience.
Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.